Christopher Vizzina is projected to be the starter for Clemson. Will he bring explosiveness back to the offense? Let's discuss now on today's episode. Welcome back to the Maximal Sports Network. I'm your host, Brice Trammell, joined by Avery Wimberly, my co-host. I want to pick your brain a little bit.
All right, let's go.
Christopher Vizzina, what's your thoughts on him?
Christopher Vizzina, great football player, otherwise known as CV to all you Clemson football fans. He's just your glue guy, your Mr. Consistent. I love what he does on the football field and how he, the moments that he gets to get into the game, he just capitalizes on those. You know, the role that he served under Cade the past 3 years as the backup. I'm really excited to see what he does if he wins the starter role. Yeah,
and that's why I have so much respect for him, because he actually stayed in the program.
Yes,
and developed. Because in today's NIL world, kids will jump ship at the earliest convenience, and you don't hardly ever see anybody stay for as long as he has.
Yeah, I think it has to do with kind of his recruitment and the way he stepped into Clemson football. Number 10 quarterback in the 2023 class. He was a 4-star recruit with a 95 rating out of Briarwood Christian in Birmingham, Alabama. Alabama's a powerhouse for football, and especially in high school football. And so that kind of speaks to kind of who he is and the ceiling that he has for his skill.
Everybody is a little bit like kind of eerie on if he's going to be successful in the program, because he's just, if he couldn't beat out Cade, then why do we have him? I heard that a lot. And think about it, Taj Boyd didn't beat out Kyle Parker back in the day. He sat behind him as well. And we see how good Taj Boyd was. So I don't have a doubt in my mind that he will be successful. I think he'll get 3 games to really settle in before they consider, if he's not performing, before they consider putting in Tate Reynolds, because Tate Reynolds, I've heard, is excellent at what he does, super athletic, super big. So I think he'll get 3 games to establish himself.
Yeah, and I think, you know, talking about Tate and that competition there for the starting position, I do think that Vizzina kind of inches a little bit ahead of Tate because of his experience and what he's learned and his game that he started last year against SMU when Cade was hurt. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. A guy just really being thrown in the fire there, first ever collegiate start in his 3rd year of college. And boy, did he perform. I
remember watching that game. If you watch the start of that game, you would think he was kind of unprepared, as anyone would be being thrown into something like that. But as the game went on, you could see him truly settle in. He started slinging it. 317 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. It was very impressive.
29 for 47 pass attempts.
For a kid just getting thrown in the way he was.
So he showed a lot there, and against a really good SMU team as well. They weren't just any, random team on the schedule. They were a conference team, and they were on top of the conference as well. And so the way that he handled himself in high-pressure situations, like you said, talking about the start of that game, and him really being able to settle in, I think that's going to transition him even better into the start of this year. And it may not even take him 3 games to settle in. He may feel the pressure and the fire from LSU and know exactly what he needs to get done for game number 2, or even during the game itself. I like how he's a student of the game, and he learns as the game goes on. He just adapts to whatever's being thrown at him.
And that's why, if it was my choice, I'd want CV to start at LSU, because I know there's been people in the fan base that I've heard wanting Reynolds to start, and I'm like, I don't want a freshman quarterback just had 1 spring to walk into their Death Valley.
Exactly.
And that's one of the hardest environments to win in for any quarterback. You'd rather have a guy that's had experience at the helm, and even if it is 1 game, he understands that. And I know Chad Morris will have him ready. Chad Morris is a QB savant when it comes to that. So I can't wait to see it. So now that we discussed where he came from, his recruitment, how we think he's going to perform, let's discuss the personnel that he has around him this year. And we know he's got some dogs, especially in receiver. Bryant Wesco, TJ Moore, Tyler Brown, Beneker, Gideon Davidson. And I think Gideon Davidson's going to be a breakout star this season, because he was kind of had to sit behind Adam Randall, because Adam Randall was one of the bright spots of last season in offense.
For sure.
He played every single down on that team. But Vizzina has some absolute dogs with him on this offense. I just wanted to see what you thought about them.
Yeah, so obviously Wesco and Moore coming back on the receiver core,
Yeah.
that is huge. You know, those guys have been grinding and doing their work and been performing really well for us the past 2 seasons. I'm excited for guys like Binnicker and Brown and Davidson to now come to light because their roles have become vacant and they need to be filled.
Yeah.
And so those guys have been getting the second team reps with Vizzina this past season. And so Brown filling the shoes of Antonio Williams, pretty big shoes to fill. But we see what he did his freshman year.
Yeah, he was the leading receiver his freshman year.
When Williams got hurt, and so we know that what he can do.
He can step into the role perfectly fine. And one guy that I really, really want to focus on is Binnicker. Yes. Because I feel like people don't talk about him nearly as enough as how good he actually is at tight end.
Yeah, you mean you just look at him play when he does get in the game. That's a guy that looks like he knows exactly what he's doing.
And he has these hands. You rarely ever see him drop the ball. And whenever I spring him, they use him in short yardage blocking, swing out, slants. They used him for everything. And I think he dropped it one time, and that's because the defensive back was all over him.
And with his size, I want to speak to that as well. His size and his speed. He's this hybrid tight end lineman because he can block like anybody else on the line, and it's a really big benefit having a 6 lineman with his size. And then as soon as he blocks, he can get off and he can get down the field in order to make a play. Yeah,
that's another thing I want to talk about is our offensive lineman. The one pretty big question mark other than quarterback, because I don't think quarterback still be that much of a question mark because I think we know what we got. With our linemen, we don't. It's a lot of freshmen coming in. I know Braden Jacobs is a monster.
Absolutely.
And he'll do just fine, but they're going to have to at least start a couple freshmen on the line.
Yeah, we lost guys like Blake Miller, Ryan Linthicum, Walker Parks, Tristan Lee, really, really good guys. But what I love about this is the second team reps, what Vizzina was playing on last season during practice. All of those guys are now the ones playing. And so your quarterback's only as good as the people blocking for him. And so he's got really good relationships with Elijah Thurman, with Colin Sadler, with Harris Sewell. Those guys who are going to be blocking for him, Braden Jacobs, and whoever kind of steps up and to fill those roles and works in and out because that's what the offense likes to do is kind of get this wave of linemen. Man, having that connection between your quarterback and the guys you're blocking with can bring so much confidence. And I'm not saying that was lacking during the SMU game because obviously wasn't throwing for 317 yards.
You saw that is that you build timing in practice, and as you saw, the longer the game went on, the more he was dealing in the pass game. I mean, to have 317 yards coming off the bench and starting your first game is not bad. Whenever you spend all the practice throwing with the second team, so and I know Moore, which I think Brant West was injured at that point, so I think it was just Moore playing. And he knew to throw the ball to TJ Morris. It will tend to work out for you if you do that.
I mean, it's so encouraging and gives you so much confidence knowing what he was able to do during that game and the guys who's now blocking for him and his weapons around him. That 317 yards may feel like a slow game for him, which is really exciting.
I would really hope that's the case, and I feel like one thing we're missing is the freshman receivers also coming in. So with Moore and Wesco off the field, there's not going to be much drop off. I know Naheem Burrows is an absolute monster.
Gordon Sellers.
Yes, and one person, if I had to pick one person that would probably lose their spot, it would be Tyler Brown to Naheem Burrows, just from what I've heard. But Tyler Brown is really good and really consistent, and I have no qualms with keeping him there in that spot.
So our last big thing we need to talk about is the running backs. And we got guys like Gideon Davis, who's not going to step up. Our transfer from SMU.
Only offensive transfer that Clemson received was from SMU, Chris Johnson. Speed back is the way to describe him.
Yes. Yeah. And we got David Iziomume, also kind of this like threefold running back group who I know Iziomume and Davidson have worked a lot with Vizzina last year on second team. And so those guys standing beside him, all three of them weapons in their own right.
And they're all situational on how you can use them as well. Definitely. And I feel like this the core around Vizzina, he should succeed this season. I mean, there's too many weapons, and people tend to think, because we're going to have a schedule prediction coming up as well, I don't think people are saying 4 and 8. I'm like, there's no way. I don't think there's any way. There was 9 draft picks on that team last year, and there's going to be probably close to 8 to 9 this coming draft as well. So there's good players on this team.
I agree.
And I feel like if they can get the most out of these players, they could easily be pushing 9 or 10 or even 11 wins.
On paper, everything looks great.
Yeah,
obviously, last year on paper looked just as good as well. But
last year on paper was the best it's looked in 10 years, and we obviously see what happens. So the paper can lie, but I really hope it doesn't lie this time because the pieces are there and they're ready to be used.
The pieces are there, but the implementation from Chad Morris, which you should check out our previous episode discussing Chad Morris. If he can get all these guys to work together, to want to play together and towards a common goal, man, CV will have so many different avenues in order to march the team down the field and to score inside of the red zone. How do you think he'll fare when it comes to red zone scoring? Because I know we struggled with that a lot last year.
It really depends on the scheme that Chad Morris cooks up, and if it's anything like his previous offenses, he's one that will get fancy with it.
Yes.
One play specifically that I remember him running was Taj Boyd, and I think it was against Ohio State, and they ran everybody to the right except for one guy that went left, and Boyd turned around and threw it, and the guy just called it and walked into the end zone, and there's probably 10 yards between anybody close to him. So there's creativity in the playbook that is going to be coming to this team, and I feel like last year Garrett Riley tended to clam up a little bit when it came to red zone, and I don't have the specific stats, but I know the red zone efficiency was not good last year, and that's got to change this year.
So before we wrap up, I kind of want to get your thoughts about how he'll perform this season, altogether. Let's talk completion percentage. Let's talk total pass yards when it's all said and done. Let's talk total touchdowns, interceptions, and even rush yards.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with passing yards. I'd say 3,450 passing yards, 24 touchdown passes with 8 interceptions with a completion percentage of 63%. That is if he gets that, that's a pretty excellent season.
I'd say so.
Yeah, I'd be supremely happy with that. When it comes to rushing, I would say probably about 565 rushing yards and maybe 6 touchdowns. I just think they have so much weapons in the receiving room that they're going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns. I don't see him running in that many, so I'm going to go with 6 touchdowns on the rushing side. So what would you give him?
Yeah, I'll do same pass yards first. I'll say 2,900 pass yards because I'm a little more run heavy, and Chad Morris likes to run his quarterbacks. Yeah, and so I think if he gets the good opportunities and good blocks to run, I really like what I see out of him, and I think he'll take off. So I'll go 2,950 total pass yards with 21 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Okay. He's smart with the ball. He's got good vision down the field. So I'll give him 6 interceptions with a completion percentage of 64. Okay. And I'll say for rush yards, I'll give him 700 rush yards. I like that with 7 touchdowns.
Yep. So people tend to critique when the quarterback is under 3,000 passing yards, but whenever they have 700 rushing yards on the ground, that critique goes away. Right. So that's still a spectacular season if he can achieve that, which I think is fully in his bounds to do so. And I think it's going to be a great year, and can't wait to see it. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It was a blast discussing Christopher Vizzina's potential season, what it could be like. In the next episode, we're probably going to jump into a little bit of a schedule prediction for Clemson in the upcoming year. Thank you so much for tuning in.
See ya.